So I was just listening to the Game Station podcast with Jesse Cox, Guns for Hire, and Total Biscuit or Total Halibut, and I have to say I'm shocked when they were talking about piracy, and more for the fact when they brought up kids pirating Witcher 2, because they're not going to the parents and asking for that particular game because of the gratuitous sex in it, the violence, or whatever have you. So instead, they're pirating the game. And to begin with, if they're buying it online, I don't know about you, but most parents don't pay attention really to what their kids are doing online. At least in the United States, it could be different in Britain, and it definitely could be different in Canada. Uh, but in the United States, they don't pay attention to that. And another thing was Total Halibut brought up, or didn't actually bring up the fact about how the rating system is. He worked game stores, and I haven't. I have been in plenty in my life: EB, GameStop, Walmart, Target. You can go even to Game World, the small independent disc replay in the United States. Um, and these places are great places. But what I've noticed, and I'll even link an example or talk about an example. Um, One day, it was before Christmas, before a big launch title came out, and it was Saints Row 2. And you hear this mother on a phone talking to, presumably, the kid, saying, "What game did you want, hon? You want this game? Okay, I'll buy it for you." Which is nice. I mean, I would have loved to have parents who had money to buy me video games, and inappropriate ones at that. So I kind of stopped, looked at the woman, asked her how the kid was, because I think there was something like, "Would your brother like this game too?" or something like that. So I kind of knew it was a kid, or their child, offspring. And she looks at me and says, "Well, the oldest one's 12, and the youngest one's 10." And I looked at her and was like, "You do understand this game's for people over 17?" She looks at me, "No. How do you tell?" And so I kind of explained to her the rating system of these games, and I pointed out examples: Halo, Gears of War, all these and what their age demographics, and pointed at what the younger ones were. But I even made the example: I played Mortal Kombat when I was a kid, which was considered a very violent video game. Sorry, I'm getting sick, I think, and an itchy nose at the same time. It's not fun. But I had to explain it to her, and it's not the first time that I've done that. And after it's all said and done, she didn't buy the game. Grand Theft Auto was the same. When Grand Theft Auto came out to the newer generation, I would say what it looks now instead of the old school one. Um, I think you got a lot of parents not understanding at least the rating system in the United States, buying it for kids. Because I remember as a kid having all the Grand Theft Autos. All my friends had the Grand Theft Autos. Even people who were really religious family had Grand Theft Auto, and didn't understand the bad things until it became publicized, and then a lot of the people lost the game or their parents took it away. So I think when it comes to gaming, that rating system is kind of an issue. It's not like music. It's not like movies, where it's been really long enough where it's now common sense to parents, and which is odd because you look at like music and Frank Zappa, kind of coming to a safety net and to putting the label on not suitable for whatever all ages, and the movie system. If video games were more like movies in their rating system, I think parents would understand it better. Oh, this is PG-13 instead of rated M or rated E for EA or whatever the fucking mark system is. And that's a big thing. Another thing that I'm thinking contributes to a lot of piracy in this country or in this world we live in is the fact of how games are launched. And in Britain and definitely in Australia, you can see the issues. Britain, maybe not as bad as Australia, but there's usually a month to 2 months of when it's launched. And guess what? As if I lived in Australia and the United States gets a game 2, 3, even 4 months before me, and I see it on, let's say, a Pirate Bay, I'm going to pick it up. So I'm assuming piracy has to be an issue there, and to some degree, is when games aren't being launched at the same time. But hey, this is my perception of it. I would love to hear what your perception of it is. And the thing that really annoys me is that, they're saying, pirates don't buy new games. Well, yeah, that's true. Once you pirate something, you really don't need it. You can burn it on disc and you're happy. I had a buddy who was the biggest pirate. And I'm going to say that pretty calmly because he was uploading at least 2 terabytes a month and was downloading about a terabyte uh, of movies every month. So, 3 terabytes of stuff. And the dude worked a full time job. So, I don't know if he actually got a chance to read or to watch or to listen to all the music he ever downloaded because, hell, I probably couldn't keep up with it. And that's the thing, too. Movies are hit or miss. I went and watched Puss in Boots here recently. Don't ask me why. I just did. And the movie theater was so uncomfortable that I think it took a lot of the enjoyment out of said movie because I was having to stand up. I have bad knees, so sitting and not having my legs stretched out, my knees were crammed up to my chest watching this movie. And it did destroy the enjoyability of the movie. And, it's different when I can be at home, kind of laying back and relaxing, all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of school, watching my movie. It's just that simple. I would love to say that piracy isn't a bad thing. I do agree completely with Total Biscuit about the music aspect of it. Oh, if there's only one good song on an album, go to iTunes, spend a damn dollar, get the song you really like, or hell, if it plays on radio 1,000 times. But, like you said in another video about piracy, it's like, there's so many different formats that came out that was a threat in piracy. Videotapes, burnable CDs, MP3s, all these were supposed to crush the movie industry and the music industry and all this, and it had very little effect. Same with the game companies stating, well, used games are an issue why we're not making as much money as we should. Guess what? We buy used games a day later after a game launched or 2 days later after a game launch at $57. We save $3 on a used game because not a lot of people wait the 2 to 3 months when the game's finally kind of getting down to the low end. We'll buy a game pretty much damn brand new for $3 fucking less. It's the concept that we're spending so much money. I would rather buy a game for $3 less than buy the actual damn game. Used game stores isn't a detriment. It's a detriment that gaming has jumped price so much. When I was a kid, you could buy a video game for $20, $30 at most. Super Nintendo, it was around $40 to $50 depending on game. And now it's $60 to buy a game. And guess what? If you do buy it used, you might have to drop another $15 on a $57 game that was used. That isn't going to affect the market because guess what? I'm going to just pirate the damn game then. If I can't get the full game. Online, I might be able to get the full game with all the cool extras and maps and all that. You're hurting yourself saying piracy is bad for you because the used game market will never go away. That's always going to be there. If you want to stop piracy, free games, free games and allow us to buy all these things. One thing they didn't mention when they were talking about free games, and how you nickel and dime you to over full retail price, is look at games like Farmville. Farmville makes bank It's a free Facebook game, but it makes moolah. Hand over fist makes more money than most game companies make in a year, or publishers. And for what? Adding a new crop, adding a new animal. Make a free game. You know what? Yeah, restrict us a little bit. We don't mind that if the game is free. We will buy the stuff. Look at Valve and Team Fortress 2. We buy the hats. Doesn't add anything to the game. We just get a hat. Look at customized DLC for your characters. People buy that. Doesn't actually affect gameplay. Just makes your character look spiffy. Portal 2, Grand Theft Auto, Saints Row 3. All these, we buy different uniforms. Hell, I bought 2 uniforms before I actually got the game Dead Rising 2, just so I could have them. I think they actually did give me stats, but I didn't use them like that. I just did them because they were cool uniforms. You know, that's a better way to make money. It really is. Nickel and dime your way through it. And guess what? If you do that and have DLC, you know that DLC is profitable, and you're a big label game, Madden, Call of Duty, stuff like that, knock down your game to $40. Guess what? $40? Then we have this sensation. We have an odds and say, wow, I got this game for $40. Now I have $20 to buy on DLC. It doesn't click. And when you're spending so little money, 50 cents here and there, $1 here, $2, we're going to go over that $2 limit. You're going to make more money. Plus, it's DLC. It's a little bit more work on you guys for the graphic designer, stuff like that. But you're going to have us spending more money on your game because we bought it cheaper. And me and my buddy had this conversation. And why I think the cheaper games is the issue. When you first go into a store and you see that $40 game, it can be a great fucking game. I don't have an example. Deadliest Catch, Alaskan Storm. It can be a great game. And that's a fucking joke. It can be a great game. But at $40, you look and it's like, oh, there's something off with it. But you know what? You pick it up, you play it, you're just like, oh, it's a great game. Cool. It's fun. It's reliable, enjoyable. And it was only $40. It makes you feel a little better. And guess what? When the DLCs for those games come out, oh God, I didn't spend that much money. I'll give some more. Give me some enjoyment. Here's some money. It's a simple concept. You want money out of our pockets. Don't try to rape us and then steal our money. Doesn't work like that. And guess what? There's still going to be companies out there who sell their games for $60 and then make another $10 off you on DLC. Halo is a perfect example. I mean, any new map pack, we bought it. And don't lie to me. You didn't wait that 4 or 5 months when it became free. You bought it that day. So you would have had the opportunity to be better at said map. Now, I'm rambling and kind of going off on different tangents here. I apologize completely. But I want to know your beliefs. Would you buy a game for $40? And would you then feel a little better at buying the DLC because it's not a $60 game? Another thing, do you think it's true that parents don't actually understand the rating system? And the argument Total Biscuit made was their set a little off. Because guess what? He worked at a gaming store. He should have known how parents don't understand the rating system when an 8-year-old comes up with Call of Duty 3. Just doesn't make sense. And outside of that, there's probably a few other things. Have you ever had a movie that you would have enjoyed but hated? Pirates of the Caribbean 3 was like that to me. I sat by a guy whose breath, no fucking joke, smelled like he ate a pile of shit before coming in the movie theater. And it is Bloomington. There was a possibility. You guys have fun. I'm actually going to finally smoke.